This death game is incredibly brutal. If you fail, you're immediately smashed to pieces. The game is called the Deadly Platform. Players start on a central platform surrounded by 3 out walls, with only one side marked safe. That's the only direction that guarantees survival. Players must wear black masks and choose the safe direction from the platform, then leap across to win. If they choose wrong and jump into an out wall, they'll fall 950 feet, instantly turning to pulp. With only a 25% chance of survival, you've got a 1 in 4 shot at making it. The organizer, Mr. Saito, has picked 2 top contenders from the 100 participants, Zero and Mitsuru. If they win all the games set by the organizers, they'll get a whopping 100 billion yen and inherit Japan's largest conglomerate. So, who will survive this life or death game? First up is Zero. He steps onto the stage, dons a headgear, and is taken to the central platform. Secretary Mikiko announces the game rules over the loudspeaker. Zero has just 10 seconds to remove his headgear and observe his surroundings. Mikiko warns Zero that these 10 seconds might be the last thing he ever sees. As Zero removes the headgear, the terrifying height and the 25% survival chance make him extremely anxious. Mikiko explains further. The platform will spin quickly and then stop randomly. After that, a speaker will appear from one of the directions and say something to help Zero determine which side is the correct safe direction. One important rule to note, throwing objects to assist in figuring out the right direction is not allowed. The deadly game is officially underway. Choose the wrong platform, and you'll instantly be turned into tomato paste. When the platform finally stops, Zero is completely disoriented. Secretary Mikiko tells Zero that he only has 10 minutes to judge each direction. The first speaker is Zero's friend, Specs Hiroshi. He claims he's in the safe zone and encourages Zero to jump confidently. His tone is sincere, and Zero doesn't spot any flaws, knowing that Specs Hiroshi is the kind of person who'd rather endure pain himself than see his friends suffer. But Zero hesitates. From a reverse perspective, if the speaker was already in the safe zone, wouldn't that make winning the game too easy? Specs Hiroshi notices Zero's doubts and explains that the organizers deliberately placed him in the safe zone to confuse players. This explanation only deepens Zero's dilemma, but he decides to proceed with caution. Zero asks Specs Hiroshi some private questions that only they would know. And to his surprise, Specs Hiroshi answers all correctly, easing Zero's suspicion. So, Zero takes a step forward, only to find an out wall ahead. It turns out the speaker's job was to guide players toward the correct direction through their words. A speaker who successfully leads a player to the correct direction will earn a ring. Players who collect 4 rings will inherit the billion-dollar fortune. Just as Zero is about to make his jump, he suddenly has a realization. In a life-or-death game like this, never trust what others say. Zero asks Specs Hiroshi to check the number on his glasses and say it out loud. Suddenly, there's a tense silence from the other side. It turns out that behind the out wall is a bodyguard from the organizers. Before the game started, Specs Hiroshi was violently attacked, and his glasses fell off. Zero had caught a quick glimpse of the number on those glasses. Then, Specs Hiroshi is being taken away by the bodyguards. Under pressure, he reveals private details about Zero. The bodyguard then uses a voice simulator to mimic Specs Hiroshi's voice. Zero has asked about the number because he remembered Specs Hiroshi's attack. And now Specs Hiroshi is watching from below. Secretary Mikiko announces that Zero has seen through the out-wall deception. Now, only 3 directions remain. The second speaker is Yamaguchi, Zero's high school classmate. This time, it's the real Yamaguchi. He speaks with genuine sincerity, claiming he's in the safe zone and has talked with the organizers. If he wasn't in the safe zone, he wouldn't be the speaker. Zero recalls how Yamaguchi once stepped in to save him during the ring battle, and feels a sense of guilt, so he decides to trust Yamaguchi. However, the direction turns out to be an out wall. It seems that even friends can become enemies when there's a prize on the line. Moreover, back in high school, Zero was always first in exams while Yamaguchi was second. Yamaguchi had long harbored jealousy and wanted to take Zero out. In a deadly game like this, you should never trust so-called friends. Just as Zero is about to jump, he notices his shoelaces are loose. He has to crouch down to retie them. Meanwhile, Yamaguchi's peeking through a small hole, can't see what's happening, and impatiently asks Zero why he's not jumping yet. Zero immediately realizes that Yamaguchi must be behind an out wall. His view was blocked by the wall, which is why he's asking such questions. Furious, Yamaguchi starts banging on the wall. His intense hatred for Zero has driven him to eliminate him entirely. Now, only 2 directions remain. 2 speakers will appear simultaneously, raising the survival chances to 50%. The third speaker is Gray Seiji, a notorious telecom fraudster, while Zero is a righteous thief known for recovering stolen money. They are sworn enemies. Zero isn't intimidated by Gray Seiji. He places a coin on the edge of the platform and asks him whether the coin is worth 10 yen or 100 yen. If Gray Seiji is in the safe zone, he should be able to see the value clearly. If he's behind an out wall, he won't be able to see it. Gray Seiji, standing behind an out wall, claims he's in the safe zone but can't see the value clearly due to glare and needs some time to check. In reality, he's waiting for the organizers to bring a high-position mirror. Once the mirror is in place, Gray Seiji sees the coin's value and declares it's 50 yen.
50円玉だ。
Zero is stunned. Could it be that Seiji is actually in the safe zone? Gray Seiji is Japan's top con artist and never tells the truth. Realizing he cannot trust Seiji, Zero decides to switch the coin to another direction and asks the other speaker about its value. This time, it's Secretary Mikiko. Without hesitation, she claims she can't see the coin's value because she doesn't have her contact lenses, but she firmly states that her direction is the safe zone. This only confuses Zero more. His method of judgment seems to be failing. With just 2 minutes left, Zero calmly thinks for a moment. Then he pulls out 2 coins again and asks Gray Seiji to identify their values. Gray Seiji quickly answers, one is 10 yen, and the other is 100 yen. Zero immediately gets suspicious. The first time Seiji said he needed time, but now he's answering so quickly. It makes Zero wonder if he was preparing something during the first round to buy time. Zero realizes that the only place the outwall can be seen from above is where Gray Seiji might have used a high-position mirror to cheat. To test his theory, Zero pulls out a third coin and asks Gray to identify its heads or tails. Gray Seiji instantly says it's heads. As the organizer rushed to the safe zone, urging Zero to make a decision with just 40 seconds left, Zero must act fast. This is the most intense death game yet. If Zero doesn't make a choice within 10 minutes, he'll fall from a height of 950 feet. Suddenly, Zero has an idea. He asks Gray Seiji to check the coin again and state whether it's heads or tails. Seiji confidently says it's heads. Zero makes his decision. He places the coin on a small brick. If Seiji was in the safe zone, he would only be able to see the edge of the coin. Only someone using a high-position mirror could clearly see the heads or tails. So Zero is now sure that Secretary Mikiko's direction is the safe zone, and jumps towards it without hesitation. But the danger isn't over yet. As the organizer, Mr. Saito releases a smoke bomb and pats Zero's shoulder. He praises his performance. However, these hands are actually fake, controlled by Mr. Saito's bodyguard. Mr. Saito is trying to make Zero believe he's about to inherit billions. But the ground beneath Zero suddenly gives way. If Zero had been greedy and stepped forward, he would have fallen into a 950 feet abyss. But instead, he pauses midair, yanks off the fake hands, and stands his ground. He takes off his headgear, revealing Mr. Saito's trick. Zero explains that the thrill of victory might make someone momentarily careless. But he's not swayed by money. His true goal in this game was to help other players and minimize deaths. When Mr. Saito appears, Zero quickly figures out which direction is the safe zone. He deduces that Mr. Saito, eager to see him fall from it, must be positioned where he can clearly see the jump. That's why he's in that spot. Since the outwall blocks his view and Mr. Saito is in a wheelchair, he can't see what's happening on the jump platform. So, the direction he's in must be the safe zone. In this deadly game, there can only be one winner. So, would you help others? The next challenge is for Mitsuru. Given Zero's previous strategy, the organizer has set up 3 mirrors above the outwalls, allowing them to monitor Mitsuru from all angles, 360 degrees. Zero feels a rush of concern. He dashes to the elevator doors and urgently warns Mitsuru to stay alert and not make any hasty decisions. But the guards quickly block his way, coldly pushing him out. At that moment, coins scatter across the floor, clinking noisily. Surprisingly, Mitsuru manages to find the correct direction in just 45 seconds and jumps to the safe zone. It turns out that Mitsuru has observed Zero using coins to figure out the safe zone and quickly deduces the role of the mirrors. He performs a 90-degree bow on the jump platform, with his hands raised and his thumbs hidden between his palms. He then asks each direction whether his thumbs are together or apart. If the speaker is behind an out wall, their view, whether through a peephole or high position mirror, would not reveal Mitsuru's thumbs. Only someone in the safe zone can see clearly by crouching down. Despite his victory, Mitsuru is not elated. His win is based on Zero's strategy and the solution he has found. Ultimately, Mitsuru achieves the fastest time and earns a ring, while Zero gets nothing. What will Zero and Mitsuru do in the next showdown? Find out in the next episode of Zero, the Bravest Money Game. That's a wrap for today. You just watched episodes 2 and 3 of the series. Thanks for tuning in and subscribing. Catch you next time.